There may be blood on the pitch, but we're asking whose blood it is in this next series and the final series of the league play number 4 for the OCE Championship. This is Yummy Cheese Man, Jake Edwards at the end, and my name is Hysterics. We are finally here. This is essentially what should be second versus third, second versus 4 matchup.
At the beginning of the season for sure.
Yep.
Legacy have been, you know, showing moments of being the number 3 team, but haven't quite got there.
Everyone's just been dropping games you don't expect. First Order against Avant, now Legacy against Justice.
Yep.
Legacy really have something to prove this week.
Well, people have been saying as well that Legacy have been doing really well in scrims, that maybe even they're better than Tainted Minds, but it doesn't matter how good you are in scrims.
Look, Legacy have been very shaky on game day, especially Daze. Daze has been letting in like easy goal week in, week out, and that's something that doesn't happen in scrims and is really difficult to fix on a
And he'll admit as well that he's been really nervous that he's having to play up in this team.
I was going to say, I guess this reshuffle has just affected Legacy more than we thought it would.
Well, I don't think Daze was their perfect fit. I know the roster shuffle was a bit rushed. There were some org problems. I know they are happy with Daze and they have been working as a team, but I know they might have wanted someone else, and that would be playing to Daze a little bit. Like, it would be hard to have confidence in that situation.
It's not just Daze as well. I feel like Cyrix hasn't had the performance that he needed to have this season.
Yeah, no.
They've all kind of struggled there, and they've let in too much. They play so defensive, and they lost to Justice Esports because they gave them a lot of room. And Tainted Minds are going to punish that even harder than Justice.
Well, you can say they'll punish that, but the other thing you can say is Legacy played to that strength. That's what they used to do. They would sit back, they would wait for teams to overcommit, and then they'd score counterattacks. And if they can get that spark back in their playstyle, I think that would be the counter to Tainted Minds.
One of the good things you can do against those teams that are ultra fast and hyper aggressive is wait for them to make the play, and then you're in a 3v2.
Yeah.
The problem is, I think CJ and Express have been so accurate that letting them get the touch is bad.
Do you think they'll be able to keep that up, though? I think they've been... their stats are ridiculous. They both have like 1.3 goals and assists per game. It's crazy. The point I actually want to focus on is Shady as third man. To get those crazy stats, Shady is taking a more defensive role, and he doesn't look incredibly comfortable.
It's all right, Yummy. You take hosting.
No, it's your turn.
No, at the moment, you know, like, the stats are a big part of it, and of course, with Tainted Minds at the moment, they feel like they're in the best form that they ever have been.
Oh, they should. They have been playing amazing.
And they've changed their play style, and they've made it work. The thing is, they haven't made it work against what the top 4 seeds. Though those top 4 seeds aren't really panning out.
No, they haven't played them yet. So they lost to Ground Zero. We didn't see what happened. We might be able to just call that a bad day.
We have to move forward because I do want to get predictions on this one. Tainted Minds or Legacy? Let's go, Jake. Who are you sitting with in the last series?
It's super close, but I think you have to go with Tainted Minds. I think Legacy's mentality just might be a bit too shaken to really be able to pick themselves back up. Maybe against an easier team, but I think if they're not feeling 100%, I feel like Tainted are going to just treat them like the rest of the
And Tainted Minds have no pressure on them. Legacy have a lot. They need to win this, or they're versing Order and Ground Zero, where they need to win both next week. So I think Tainted Minds have the advantage.
Everything's on the line here. I'm going to sit with Tainted Minds as well. When you look at the matchup against Chiefs, I mean, that's going to be an interesting one, but having Order in the mix after their performance, I think they're going to be pretty comfortable, especially since this team looks like it's going to blow away. But as we leave Jake on the desk, Legacy Esports, Tainted Minds, our final series of the Rocket League OCE Championship for League Play 4. And Tainted Minds, we put expectations on, and boy did they deliver.
They've had a ridiculous season so far, the most goals of any team in League Play, and this is why. These passes, very clever from CJ off the roof.
And immediately, 6 seconds, Legacy, actually Tainted Minds, I believe. That's, we just got to switch those ones around. What a banger of a start.
It's a big start for Tainted Minds. They've had a great season, the best season that they've ever had for all 3 of these players so far. And they are looking to warm up, in essence, for their match against Chiefs next week.
Well, they get the pass through, already beating out the defenders here of Legacy. Shady with the shot directly on net, but hits the crossbar. And Tainted Minds applying that pressure. Legacy, this is really dangerous. Just 30 seconds into game 1.
Shady's the crossbar king, but usually there's someone from Tainted Minds to follow it up. It leads to something. Legacy finally getting it onto attack. What was that bounce?
I mean, CJ saved it away. Cyrix unfortunate there, but Legacy their first shot of the game. Tainted Minds. remembering how much they need this win to contest with Chiefs, they're pretty much looking to secure that second spot, and at the moment, you feel like they have.
Well, they're not just looking for second, they have the chance to come in first place, where the Legacy are almost on their last life.
Really, at this point, Legacy, this win, crucial starting with game one. Cyrix receives the pass. Legacy trying to beat out Tainted Minds, but you see faster pace of game here. These two teams, in comparison to what we've seen, looking to make those boomers happen.
Siki's the one backing off. Legacy only ever seem to have two people in attack at once, and the third goes all the way back. It's giving so much room, and CJ almost capitalized.
Blocked by Daze, but it's still on that backboard. Shady coming in, but he's run out of boost from the corner. They keep it in play, but Daze an essential clear to make sure Legacy lose pressure, but the knock up. Siki unable to find it through the path, missed by Shady.
There's good passing in the middle.
Oh yeah.
Good passing
good
as well.
Absolutely fantastic
Must
passing.
be plastered.
Oh, yeah, not always, but the pass goes wide. Tainted Minds, again, finding majority possession here. CJ, another pass that's missed it. And Shady from the corner. The bounce up. It's going to be a good one for Legacy. Actually hit that backboard. Ready down, Cyrix. Receives it with open arms.
And it was a quick counter-attack. The 1-2 in defense. Daze turns it all the way around, and CJ's really caught backwards. So is the rest of Tainted Minds. And that is how Legacy are going to score. Quick counterattacks.
Well, for Legacy, keep your eyes open because we wanted to see more from Cyrix, and with those quick counterattacks, feels like Cyrix might be involved a little bit more in this series.
He was important last season, finishing off most of the goals. He can do that again right here. And honestly, it's closer than we might have expected at the first half of this game.
Especially the way Tainted Minds are going. Legacy with their downfall, but still holding on as one of the top 4 teams in OCE. CJ now with the dribble off the roof, angling it towards that right net. Express now to pick up the pieces after Siki lobs it away. Cyrix has missed the ball there. The pass beautiful from CJ. Express hits it off the backboard and the dunk down. That's how it's done.
He doesn't hit the crossbar this time. Shady finds the angle. Set up by CJ in the first place with that big air dribble. It took 2 people out and put them flat-footed, and then they just held on and choked them out of the net.
I love the smart moment that CJ has where he goes, right, no boost, pop it backwards, let's start this play going. And for Tainted Minds, the ingenuity of their plays continues to show here in week 4.
Another air dribble from CJ, and it's just really catching the Legacy defense off guard.
Shady's still here, they've kept it in the corner. Express has beaten out the defender. It's going to be popped down, and CJ finds his party.
Another staunch out from Express to get this pass, and all 3 members of Tainted Minds are getting so involved, as that was a 3-man play just to get that to CJ.
Immediately, Tainted Minds, as soon as getting pushed in that corner, they fight back. They do not let Baby sit in the corner. And 2 minutes left to go, 2-goal lead. Express just lobs it towards that net once again. For Daze now, the player who comes in and sits into this roster. How is he going to impact Tainted Minds? Off that backboard, bouncing down, an opportunity, Legacy. Strike again.
Cyrix just getting argy-bargy in the net there with Shady. And I think that's what you need to do a little bit, is Shady's the one who likes to stay back. The other 2 will be forward. That opens up the net with just the 1 defender.
Getting these goals with these massive clears that hit the roof and bounce right in front of that goal square.
Yeah, just straight up and down, and no one there on the backboard.
CJ gets a demo off this kickoff. 145, Tainted Minds lead by 1 on the defense. Legacy relying on Daze here with the drop. Another demo, see what happens. Legacy able to push through that. Siki with the touch, it works out. It's Daze who misses the ball. Siki hits it off the wall. Now, Express won't find anything. Cyrix with a clear. A mid-air intercept by CJ. CJ comes flying in out of nowhere. Legacy stuck on this defense for now.
And when Tainted Minds are on defense, they're not looking too hot. So if Legacy can get into attack, they will be able to score goals eventually.
This is the moment. Legacy are able to push through. It's Daze. Again, no boost, but stuck in the middle of the field. The center field pass works out well. But for Daze, sets it up. Cyrix goes wide.
Painful.
Cyrix again going to have to recover. He had no boost. It's CJ with the dribble. Is Siki in position? Not for this one.
And there was the bully on the other side. You saw the one person on the back post. They could have challenged CJ, but Shady was messing with Siki the entire time. Just follows it up and blocks any kind of clear.
Tainted Minds looking ready to take game number 1. Set up this series
That's 3 big air dribbles from CJ, 2 which have led to goals.
It's the Tainted Minds we know and love, but really it's not. It's a rendition at this point.
Why isn't anyone challenging them on the wall?
Oh.
Okay.
Okay, maybe that's why.
Why isn't anybody challenging that shot
Why
all
was
the way
it?
down the other pitch? Oh, bye, Express. See ya.
Not sure why. All right, Tainted Minds. This was unfortunate, but Legacy, let's look on the bright side. 35 seconds, 1 goal, now very reasonable.
They're keeping up, and it is, again, the counterattacks. It's seeing when Tainted Minds are too pushed up. They've gotten away with it against some of the more rookie teams, but Legacy are veterans here and won't let that unpunished.
So Express playing back into Tainted Minds moving, but the steal away. Lucky that was not angled a bit to the left. Shady will clear it away, but look, the bump there by Days. He gets the goal and steps up when needed.
That was ridiculous, the bump, but that read was almost impossible. He makes it work somehow, and they have tied up the game with 15 seconds remaining.
Not sure how, but Days has just exceeded my expectations in game 1. 4 apiece, 15 seconds remaining.
And it shows you only need 1 big play to impress Hysterics.
Well, you're going to look for a second here because it's going to go to overtime. Days on the defense. Legacy now just have to hold it, but Express centers it. They lob it down, and game 1 overtime, exactly what we want.
It's a scary center, but they do get into overtime. Legacy outperforming everyone's expectations on the desk.
For Days, the touch means it goes back into the defense. Tainted Minds start out on this attack. Can't do anything with it just yet. We said their weakness is on the defense, and Shady denies that. Siki goes over the ball. The lob through on the backboard. No one hits it. That's the freebie. And CJ secures game 1.
Oh, that hurts.
You know what, Yummy? Sometimes...
Why? And the thing
sometimes
is
you
as
gotta
well, CJ saw Cyrix up there. He saw he was missing it. Shady was even there to cover it just in case he did hit. But that is not the way you want to end this overtime. That is not the high note for Legacy, who
No, it is not.
managed to come back time and time again.
I think at this point, Legacy would be very upset with that, considering how Days got, I think, one of the best shots of today.
It was brilliant. The read was... That read, when you're behind or in front of the ball and you're getting up behind it and trying to put it in, it's the kind of thing where you just go up and hope that you've got to the correct spot. And he did, and it was a great bump as well. But we need more. We need more than just a big moment. It needs to be a big team play. It needs to be a big counterattack. Against Tainted Minds, everything has to be big.
It needs to be that big consistency that Legacy have not shown, especially last week when they went up against Justice. That confidence has just been stripped away. But now against now against Tainted Minds and the likes of CJ, that confidence feels like it's returning, but it's just an inch.
There's confidence there, but not the confidence to intercept these passes. They're not beating anyone to the ball. They're not racing in the midfield to stop that play from happening. That's why they got scored on 5 times in a game. They're the defensive team. They're the team that, despite going 2-2, are one of the lowest scored against teams. They're just also a low-scoring team at the
in that same regard, like 4 goals from Legacy. Tainted Minds overcommit, make these mistakes, and this is where Legacy are able to get through as we move into game 2.
You just need to hold on the defense for long enough and then turn it on Tainted Minds.
Well, as we jump right back in, let's see if Legacy are able to capitalize on that once again. The block by Shady would have been a bit of a goal early to start. CJ sends it towards net, and it's Siki with the first save.
Siki's all the way back. We see him, when he is that third man, retreat back to the goals, and then all of a sudden he's got no one to pass to.
For CJ, setting it up for Shady once more. Cyrix with the read, but Express comes back in off the corner. Siki, who doesn't find the touch, but Days with the clear. CJ again on the defense. A nice pass to Express, but not the nicest touch from Express. CJ will punch it back up. That backboard is free, and it's CJ's for the taking. He lobs it to the side, but it's Cyrix there who receives it.
And a lot of the times Tainted Minds have backed up, but they're seeming to take this more careful. They don't want to get counterattacked again by Legacy Esports.
You see Shady, Express, the ones that are up. Where is CJ? CJ, rotation's getting a little bit faster as Shady heads back into defense. Away from the net, says Shady. It'll be Siki who takes the shot. Days again from that side wall. Bit of a back and forth, ready for Ziki. First goal by Legacy.
Clever pass into center and a banger of a shot from Siki. Legacy Esports starting to turn this around, beat out the Tainted Minds members to the ball. Doesn't matter where you hit it, as long as you're there first.
And can they keep it up? Again, that word consistency plagues us in the OCE Championship week after week. And in this matchup, I feel like it is the most relevant that it could ever be.
There's so much on the line here for Legacy Esports. Again, they really need to win this to basically secure a spot.
But you can see the passes getting wider, getting faster. Shady now reacts from Tainted Minds. They're in front of net, but the demo onto Shady stops the play. They'll get Siki as well, but Express can't do anything else with the ball. They're back on the defense. It's Daze and Siki sitting in the midfield with a massive clear. They set up Cyrix, who reacts to it well. The touch, the second. Maybe that's what did it, but
The second was definitely a mistake. Cyrix was just looking to pass it up against the roof, back down to his teammates behind the Tainted Minds defense.
But Siki still bringing it forward. Legacy staying on the attack and in front of that net, denied by Shady, but Legacy pushing forward. Cyrix gets demoed and Tainted Minds will just have to reset the play, and Legacy too.
It's all on CJ as both Shady and Express committed really hard just to try and get a pinch. Luckily, CJ did enough to get it out.
CJ pushing forward from that play. He's able to do enough. Shady and Express were up. So the dangers of these massive clears, like Cyrix just now, sets it up high. Siki gets over 2 defenders, and Express is the last member. It's Siki. No, it's not. It's Daze who comes in. Express manages to save that with the tip of his tongue.
Legacy are just managing to take out a player every single touch. It should be open. Daze has done it, but it was off one player taking out. The second player taking out. Siki taking out the final defender, and that opens it up for Daze.
And there is Legacy. Plain and simple. The Legacy we see in Season 5, or saw is past tense. The Legacy we want to see in Season 6.
And that was aggressive. They weren't holding back on defense.
It was.
Waiting for their opportunity. They took the chance and they got proactive.
But Tainted Minds now they're in front of net finally, but the demo onto Daze doesn't open anything. In fact, Legacy just get through the defense one more time.
Cyrix again beating out the defender and finding the open net. Legacy Esports, where was this in previous weeks?
But against Tainted Minds, they brought their A game, and that's all we could ask for. 3-0, game 2, 2 minutes 15, and if we go to a 1-1, then I say we're only just getting started.
Biggest weakness we've seen from Tainted Minds so far. They hadn't versed any of the top 3-4 seeds yet, and this is their first time. Is this the weakness that we finally see?
Well, Legacy sure seem to think so. It'll be Daze punching the ball back towards that net. Express narrowly saving it away. He scoops the ball up, but Tainted Minds stuck on this defense. You said it yourself, Yummy, force them back. And Tainted Minds, their defense, surely their weakness here, and it's been proven.
Legacy just have the chance to hold on now, but they can't get too defensive, because when you do that, a fantastic play like that comes from Tainted Minds.
3-man passing play, as we expect, but I think one of the first times we've seen it in the series so far.
And the fact that they were ground passes, just banging it straight towards your teammate, makes it easier to hit and makes the play so much faster, and that's why it got past the defense.
Tainted Minds, though, they've caught up to a degree. Now 2 more goals separate, or that are separating. CJ pops it up once again. It's Shady. Tainted Minds on that attack, and Legacy a whiff there by Cyrix. It gives freedom back on over. Tainted Minds get close, and that was Express. CJ left to play with the ball, but he's got plenty of boost off that backboard. Shady going to come up in a second. But around this corner, CJ coming back in. It's gone high over the top. Legacy might be able to hold on.
Couple opportunities for Tainted Minds going begging, and in a close series like this,
Oh no.
might be too much.
Daze stops the ball for a second time, and Legacy managing to stay on the attack. The clear comes forward. It's CJ's ball, but not anymore. It's Daze who sends it down. That one was narrowly saved by Shady, but time's the ticket.
And you can see Legacy Esports have sent 2 members back now instead of just 1. They're parking the bus and hoping to hold on to this 2-goal lead.
Fortunately, the bus is out of gas, though, so at the moment, it's stuck. And the point is that, I don't know, I tried. 40 seconds, though, for Tainted Minds towards that net. Saved away by Siki again, who's having a much better performance this week. Then again, Siki, always the rock here of Legacy. 30 seconds, the clock is ticking.
And Cyrix and Daze are playing quite well. I've seen a couple of mistakes coming out from Cyrix, but he's also made up for them in the attack, where he's not really been getting much this season. They're one of the second lowest goal scorers.
I think this has been a rough one for them. I think this game or this series could brighten things up in a big way. Tainted Minds. What's going to dampen them down is after such a great Game 1 performance, this comes forward, the double touch. That was denied by Siki. Sirix will end it, but a 4-1 end to Game 2 at that.
It was a clever way to set that up. It could have been a goal by itself from Siki, but it was enough to open it up for Sirix. Legacy Esports now, they just had the most dominant game win against Tainted Minds of anyone. They got the third, well, Tainted Minds just took their third game loss. But that was so much more controlling than Tainted Minds in their victory against Legacy in the first game. That's really setting the stage for the rest of this series.
I think it showed us what Legacy could be with this new roster. I think it showed us what DaZe is capable of, and moving with Siki and Sirix when they're at their best or one of their best.
Well, we're still seeing room for improvement, especially from Sirix, in my opinion. But the most important part is DaZe is really doing what he used to do. He's gone back to his playstyle where he goes really aggressive and just goes for interesting touches, and it puts the defense off. At
this point, I'm excited because Tainted Minds, when they're on the attack, they look unstoppable. They have these moments. But when Legacy are on the attack, they get creative. They're using DaZe a lot more.
Well, that's what you saw with Tainted Minds as well. We're normally seeing a ton of creativity, passes every touch. They're getting shut down. You barely saw any passes in that game, and Legacy just seemed to be just that little bit faster, just getting to those challenges.
Does it just get to who gets the ball first then, realistically?
Kind of. That's what they're sort of getting into, that space of, if I just beat them to the ball, then that's all you need to do. Okay. But for Tainted Minds, that's not their normal play style. They're used to passing, and the fact that they're so pressured anytime they're near the ball, they're losing that ability to pass.
You said it yourself, Legacy looked more convinced when they found their win. Tainted Minds pushed them into a corner in Game 1, but it was kind of a loose corner, if you know what objects are. Game number 3, though, we'll find out, because Legacy have just taken the first shot, and to me, this is just showing signs of what Legacy can be.
Trying to bury Tainted Minds and get them out of their heads, but it's going to be a tough one as Shady gets the first goal.
So Tainted Minds back on the board, and immediately, just like game number 1, they find an early goal 20 seconds or even less than into the game.
I hate to call out one player repeatedly, but Sirix won't mind. He just passed that again against off the roof, straight out to Shady. You have to get those clear all the way down the pitch.
One mistake leads to another. One mistake makes the game. In game number 3, Tainted Minds. So far, so good, but it's only been 30 seconds. Legacy pushed through, but CJ shifts the ball away into that right wing.
He was fast to that ball, and he got the pass. That's what we need to see, and that's what we're used to seeing from Tainted.
Talk about adaptation as well, if necessary, for Legacy from this left wing, taking the ball down. On the attack, Siki has run out of boost, however, and it's Tainted Minds who are trying to clear it away. The defense, a light clear, but DaZe comes back in, keeps it down here. It's a drop ball. Unfortunately, nothing like the drop airs here in Australia. Shady centers it over to Express, shifts the ball again to this left wing. Tainted Minds still playing with boost here. It's Express trying to dunk it down. He's wide, but the pinch out from Sirix helps Shady bring it back in from the corner. It's CJ dropping the ball immediately in front of net, but Siki will help get it away. A scary moment as Tainted Minds continue this attack and do not look like they're stopping. CJ again, the 4th shot here from Tainted Minds.
And Siki keeps getting the boost. Neither Sirix or DaZe able to get any, so this attack should just continue over and over again.
Not until the demolition comes through, and now the goal comes in.
You saw that coming. No one on Legacy left any boost. They were stuck in defense for so long. They even got panicked and started double committing. How do you play against Tainted Minds when they pin you against the wall for a full 40 seconds?
And this is looking like a much more dominant game from Tainted Minds. Game 1, back and forth. Game number 2, it was Legacy story. And it looks like game number 3 will be Tainted Minds' story of their league play experience so far.
I just feel like when Tainted Minds are ahead, they take more risks, they get more aggressive, and that's the play style that they most enjoy playing. So why not play like that all the time?
Big question mark right there, but Legacy, however, have found one through, and now they're back.
That was really good by DaZe to grind that along the floor, because it could have bounced up into the defender who was jumping across, but he manages to keep it low. Legacy Esports keep making these small comebacks.
And it's just a case of ping pong again. I feel like a lot of games have been like that today, but 2-1. Legacy 3 minutes remaining. And it's still their chance. One apiece, but 2 goals for Tainted Minds. Game wins might not matter if we go all the way to a game 5. It'll be that final moment that defines this series.
Legacy aren't looking for game wins. They need this series win to really carry them home. Tainted Minds, they're going to be happy just getting even one game essentially secures their spot.
2 minutes 40 remaining. Legacy able to push down on the attack now. Daze was ready there. No mistakes from Tainted Minds. They lose that goal otherwise. Express hanging back, but it's Daze with the shot directly on net. No one there.
They didn't really calm that. They didn't have boost. There was no one left in the net. And Daze just says, thank you. Okay, I'll take it.
Shady's like, oh, I could try and get it, but I guess not.
Yeah, Express didn't have boost, and he couldn't get to the net. And I don't think he told Shady.
So, miscommunication. Tainted Minds find themselves even with Legacy after such a surefire start. And now for CJ trying to recover it. Dribbling the ball over to Shady, but no one's there again. Tainted Minds take a shot anyway. Sirix goes high, reaches the ball. Shady off that back wall. CJ drops it down, but the massive clear from Legacy. This is their setup, and it's only because Shady's able to clear it that Legacy don't strike.
There's a pinch and a half, but they had no follow-up.
Tainted Minds, 2 minutes remaining. On the defense now. Things are getting shady as he gets the demolition onto Sirix. 1 minute 50. Siki hanging back. It's Express off this wall. CJ reaches the center. Daze with a massive clear. Legacy's time to strike is now again. One big play from Tainted, many from Legacy on the attack.
And Legacy are getting more opportunities. It just feels like Tainted are constantly like, we need to get this out, we need to clear it. It's not leading to anything as Legacy stay further back and wait for those clears.
Oh, a close call there from
painful.
Shady, and yeah, the save doesn't come through, so CJ says thanks.
This second follow-up touch by accident from Daze really, really hurt them because it was going to go up and over the backboard and be savable, but it pops out for CJ.
There's been some unfortunate moments in this series, and it's just a testament to these guys trying to win this series because it is so important for Tainted Minds, their first big win against the top 3 teams, or at least against a team like Legacy. The ball saved away by CJ. But for Legacy Esports to keep themselves on the line, that top 4, they want to secure that. But at the moment, Tainted Minds denying them even this opportunity.
I need to see this again. I didn't quite get the angle, and it looked almost like it came off the defender. Let's hope not, Daze. I don't think it did, no. It still had the blue trail. That's just a perfectly placed shot.
4-2, 1 minute 10. Game 3 looks like Tainted Minds wrapping it up in a nice little bow, but after what we said in game 1, I'm happy to repeat that. It feels like the back and forthness of Tainted Minds win once again, but Express, ha! Yeah, okay.
Okay, yeah, 1, 2, and 3. This is the pass from Express that we have been seeing all season. It comes back, and he just finds the most beautiful angle.
It's the passing of Tainted Minds that makes its way into our highlight reels. Every single time. There's always a Tainted Minds play in there, Yummy. And for good reason.
And what's the difference between getting 4-1 and winning 5-2? Apparently it's just passing because they didn't pass at all in the last game.
They did not.
Now they're starting to pick them up.
But for Legacy, die straights now. They have a couple of good shots here, but CJ picking up his well-deserved savior medal.
What was important about that is he went for the dive knowing that if they slowed it down and beat him out, that his teammate would be back in time with the slow play. Legacy Esports actually still in this.
30 seconds, 2 goals, very reasonable. But Daze, again, this defense of Tainted Minds is a real worry.
Well, they really pushed up and they didn't need to. They're 3 goals ahead and they were like, let's push forward for this big pass play. Let's try and get a goal. And now the intercepts are coming out.
So 30 seconds again, watch that clock. Because Legacy don't want to stop. Tainted Minds able to push forward once again, so denying the play from Legacy. In the corner, Express has been set up nicely. A good second touch there from Legacy. CJ from the corner, it's Express. 15 seconds. Looks like keeping it down there for the attacking play might have been enough to stop Legacy Esports from getting 2 goals. And I'd have to agree with myself. 5 seconds remaining. Tainted Minds, game number 3 is theirs, putting them on match point.
Bringing them back, they're really starting to take control of this. And while Legacy were making some mistakes in the earlier games, now they can't afford to. If they make any of those mistakes here, they just get scored on. And the difference between a 5 and 3, if they didn't make those mistakes, it could have been a 3 and 3 game.
But the shots on goal.
Yep.
Look at Tainted Minds.
That's just what happens when you have so much pressure. That's what they're doing. They're hitting the backboard, and sometimes those just counter shots. They're hitting it, trying to set up pressure. They follow up every touch. And because they are playing fast and aggressive, often the defensive passes that you'd see from Legacy that they're basically known for, they're no longer there because they're like, we just have to get this away from our net.
The unique playstyle from Tainted Minds, obviously showcasing over Legacy here, but Legacy, I think, are putting up a much better display this week, even though we know the Legacy can get better and the improvement's still there. Game 2 Legacy, however, that felt more like what they were capable of.
For sure. They're showing a lot of their efforts. I don't think Days had much of an effect on this Game 3, unfortunately.
No.
And I just want to see him just go for it. There was an unfortunate touch out into center, but luckily it didn't really end up making the big difference.
But for Legacy now, match point, and this is the final series of today in the OCE Championship. League Play 4 kind of wraps up what we're expecting for the rest of the teams to make that top 4. This matchup, if Legacy can find a reverse sweep here, then we can maybe expect them in the top 4 as a realistic expectation.
Even a game, even 2 games really helps them out, but they really, really want that win. Otherwise, next week is going to be very tough.
It's going to be so tough for them, but Legacy fighting for survival here at the very least. Top 4 position, it starts with this series. And for Tainted Minds, they know they've secured top 4. They want to put the nail in the coffin. They have to hold on. Legacy in front of net. Game number 4, an important one for Tainted Minds on match point.
I keep seeing Cyrix jump up for the ball and then pulling out immediately, and it's just showing a lack of confidence for him to be able to go for the ball and just get that touch.
She's not very much like Cyrix, especially in last season. Oh, Shady in the nick of time. Cyrix actually can't get to the ball either. This is not good for Legacy. The pass is there. It's Express ready for it. Hits the backboard. CJ's in. Days with a simple block.
Just enough there. They were covered one side of the net. Days covered the other. And luckily, CJ put that low.
I saw there on the defense from Shady. Swipes in, steals the ball away. And Legacy can't find that net. So defense works out for Tainted Minds.
It's part of their aggressive defensive style where they'll just try and bump you or take you out. Express and CJ, 2 of the highest bumpers / demoers on the entire season.
Makes perfect sense, especially with this team's play style. For Legacy, look at that. That was a cheeky one. CJ not finding the ideal touch, but it's Shady to the rescue again.
They're always following each other up.
Ball bouncing down off the roof. Speaking of following up, Tainted Minds have set themselves up for the play once again. Express all the way back to CJ. He leaves it up to Shady. A strange play, but it looks like it's okay for now. But with a demo, counter-attack initiated by Legacy.
And Tainted Minds aren't securing the passes. We just saw a miss from CJ, and that miss put him out of the play, prevented that 3, 4, 5-man rotation that we often see.
Will it end up costing them in this game? 3 minutes left, no goal yet, but Shady comes back in. The faster play setting up. CJ hits the backboard. If it was intentional, I'm not sure, but that net is saved by Shady, or has to be, sorry. From the corner, away it goes. Another touch by CJ. Shady set it up nicely, and I'm not sure how. Oh, CJ almost screwed it up, but Express gets the goal.
Oh, that bump. It was so scary. No way. Oh, they almost combined together to save the goal. But that was the play. They outpaced the opponents. They got the 1, 2, 3. Tainted Minds, when they're looking to pass, when they're outpacing Legacy, they just look like they're gonna win.
But these unexpected passes, that's what Tainted Minds do best. And when you do not see a member on your screen, expect it to be Shady ready to dunk down.
Oh, Days. Days put that across the net, and then Cyrix had to react, sends it straight up to Shady. These are the mistakes that keep costing Legacy. You cannot make it against top teams.
Is it going to cost them this series? At this point, it looks like it might. On the defense, they have to do something, but Tainted Minds coming through with the steals. The challengers winning out, and Shady coming in high. Express off the wall. He'll go for the angle, and Siki with a save. But 2 minutes 30, and Tainted Minds staying in the attack for the longest time here.
They're just 50ing everything. It's really hard for Tainted Minds to get the clear when there's always someone waiting to challenge it and then outpacing on the counterattack.
The pass has come through again, but Shady just wasn't up for it or wasn't far enough forward. Communication back and forth from Tainted Minds. 2 minutes remaining. Legacy able to push forward finally, but Sicky's out of boost. It's up to Express on the defense. Loses it over to Sirix. It's Daze now. Centers it. But CJ still there. Tainted Minds, the angle right from Legacy. But Sicky again doesn't find it. The block there by Shady.
Oh, and he gets that boost as well. He just landed straight next to it. And that actually gives Tainted Minds so much room to get on the attack when they had no right or no boost to be able to.
Only one shot though turns into Legacy on the attack themselves. The defense whiffing a little bit here. CJ playing with fire on that defense.
He just made sure he stayed behind the ball so that any shot that did come in would get 50'd with him.
Works out for now, but CJ now back into position. The attack continues off the backboard. The bouncer from CJ. Sirix gets it out of there, but time's a ticking, Legacy. This is the series that you need to win. And Tainted Minds are taking it out of their hands.
It's time to go aggressive. It's time for Daze to go full Daze mode. Just go straight at it. Try and get some awkward touch and see how it goes.
Well, Legacy, they're on the attack. Push everything forward. It's Daze first, then Sirix. Now for Sicky. Express denies again.
That was the exact touch we wanted from Daze. We saw him. He hit it up into the corner. He just tried to beat it out, and it did almost lead to an opportunity.
45 seconds remaining. Opportunities going awry. Daze is in here. Sirix trying to disturb. Misses the bump, but it does not matter. Express still in net. Shady commits forward, and now he's the last line. Sirix doesn't get anything, and Legacy grasping at straws, but the straw that breaks the camel back, they can't find it, and Express sending it away. Tainted Minds have used their time wisely.
This is the best Legacy have looked all match so far, but they haven't been able to finish. Tainted Minds keep holding on. Goal or opportunity after opportunity, 50 after 50, and that means that Tainted Minds will go 5-0 in league play.
Catching up to the Chiefs, showing us why. CJ went to RLCS while Shady Express have that under their belt in previous seasons. Now for Tainted Minds, a 3-1 win over Legacy will push them forward into Chiefs next week.
And for Legacy Esports, they drop down. They have to verse Order and Ground Zero and win both of those series in order to make it top 4. We see Sirix every season. He gets the top 4. He drops out.
All right, let's not mention it.
We want him to get into the top 4 again.
So Jake, let me just ask you, for Legacy, do you see their play improving from what it has improved?
It's definitely changed. I think.
Okay.
I think you can call that improvement. Actually, they were playing really in Tainted Minds' face. It's something new.
Yeah, I would really say that their overall strategy was better, but there was a lot of misexecutions in
defense.
play.
Yeah, in defense a lot. They were letting in just like sloppy goals, and it wasn't a team thing. It wasn't strategy. It was just bad mechanics a lot of the time.
You can even use a couple examples from Sirix where that first one, he missed that backboard defense.
Yeah, that was really important as well.
Later on, he hit the roof with a clear, and that was straight to the attacker. Can't get away with those.
But still Tainted Minds. Still Tainted Minds that are looking to head towards RLCS with Chiefs at the moment. We talk about our middle of our pack being so close, but it feels like Tainted Minds and Chiefs lead the charge.
Tainted just score so many montage goals.
Like,
you said something about like there's a clip every week. Like you could make like 5 clips like every week. They have so many 3-man passing plays. They're a really fun team to watch.
They're exciting to watch, and I really love seeing CJ and Express when they always hook up, because they're the two that I think just go, you know what? No one had ever passed in this situation, but I'm going to.
Like that ceiling one.
Yeah.
Express got. It's like CJ's like, no, I won't take the shot. Express, you can have it. Very creative.
I mean, speaking of creativity, I mean, there's moments where CJ almost took the goal away from everyone from Tainted Minds, which was an interesting play. But I think at the end of the day, Tainted Minds going forward into next week will say, right, win over Legacy is important, but they still have to firm up some things.
Well, they certainly do, but they're trying to beat Chiefs.
Yeah. Look. Tainted's problem is they just seem to fall asleep on defense.
Yeah.
I don't know what happens. Like they're just like
they haven't had to defend all season.
Yeah, that's true as well. But they will just push up and they just like I don't know what they're thinking. They're just like gotta go. Oh, it's a goal, and they really have to clean that up because Chiefs will punish that.
It's strange when this top tier team is just struggling on defense. But again,
They're not there much, though, so
yeah,
they get away with it.
They forgot that side of the map is. However, that's it for the OCE Championship for this week. However, in league play, things are just heating up. Our standings are spicier than ever. And I have to say, although Tainted Minds Chiefs, yes, up there, look at our middle pack teams.
SYF and Justice, those are the two big surprises. They're likely to go through. I don't think that's right from Order. They lost their series. They're 2 and 3.
The real interesting one as well is Legacy 2 and 3. You don't expect Justice and SYF. We were pretty confident the top 4 would be Chiefs, Tainted, Legacy, and then Order or Ground Zero. And that's just not been the case at all. Justice and SYF have really been showing up.
And SYF and Justice have to verse each other to get to that 4th win.
Does the winner of that guarantee next week?
Yes, if you get 4 wins, you will be guaranteed into the top 4.
All right.
So one of Justice and SYF
not both.
will make it.
Oh,
but
not both.
Not both, but I do expect that there will be a tiebreaker because we've got both Order and Legacy down
And
there.
at the moment, to confirm just on that note, yes, Order are 2 and 3 alongside Legacy. Two teams, 2 organizations that have been with us for a while.
Yeah, they're the 2 teams that were top 4 the last multiple seasons.
They're not going to be happy in the position they're in. They're going to be.
But again, we love this SYF Justice Esports come through as a powerhouse.
Yep.
That's it for this week. But next week of league play is going to be better than ever.
Don't we have an
Yummy,
MVP?
I am getting to that, Yummy. I didn't forget it this
Wait,
week.
don't we have an MVP, Asterix?
As I was saying, next week is going to be better than ever. However, it is time for our MVP of the week. Yummy Cheeseman Jake, walk us through it.
The MVP this week has to go to Deca.
Yeah.
Their team, 2 wins in a really important week.
Yeah.
Both pretty convincing as well, 3-1. I really think Deca was the leader of that team. He was playing so confidently, scored 1.5 goals per game. He was really the driving force of SYF.
It was good to see him aggressive, and he was passing a lot. And it was that delusion Deca combo that just kept getting goal after goal.
No, I make fun of Deca because he can't pass. But he got better. He was good today.
To be fair, I think Deca heightened the team as well.
Yeah.
Delusion, Deca stepping up huge, and SYF Gaming needed someone like that, and the powerhouse of Deca just made him, and that's why I think that's why they think he's MVP of the week. But ladies and gentlemen, that's it. No worries. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you to Wolfie, Corey Lord, Jake, Yummy Cheeseman, our production crew. We'll be back next week at, is it Daylight Savings next week or not?
Yeah, Daylight Savings, so it'll be an hour earlier for...
Okay. So it's like 9 a.m. AEST.
Except
but
it's 10, yeah.
It's 10 a.m. AEDT, I believe. Or maybe it's the weekend after. But anyway, we're coming back next week with League Play 5. Best outro ever. We'll see you then for important Rocket League games here in the OCE Championship.